call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
And welcome in to the Pod at the Palace post-game show presented by SARACEN, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis here to break it all down after Arkansas's 90-76 loss at Georgia. Here we are again. Once again, Arkansas went on the road and looked like they were surprised that a basketball game was taking place. And for about 25 minutes or so, this one followed the exact same script as the Auburn game did last weekend. Arkansas trailed by as many as 19, came all the way back in this game, used a big 18-3 run, tied it with 6 minutes to go. Then the Hogs went ice cold. Blue Cane was red hot, and you had some tough segments from 23, and Georgia finished it off. So good to see the Hogs show some fight, which they didn't do last weekend, but the end result was still the same. This game was decided with the way that Arkansas came out and started it. It's kind of wild to me to erase a 19-point deficit with 6 minutes to play and still lose a game by 14, but that's what happens when you have to empty the tank just to make it competitive.
Yeah, I know that it should make me feel better that Arkansas climbed their way back and kind of erased the deficit and showed that there's like something in there. But like you said, to just go ahead and turn around and lose it and lose by 14 anyway, really leaves a bitter taste in your mouth, and it should. Credit to Georgia, and they, listen, Georgia's coming off a bad loss. They're at home. They played with a desperation, which is what you have to do in these situations when you're in these tight matchups. They've got some good guys on their team. Cyril's a monster. Blue Cane made some good shots down the stretch. Credit to them. Arkansas just shouldn't be losing to them. And I think if you're Arkansas, you should be holding yourself to that kind of standard. And I know that will probably piss off a Georgia fan or two that hears that, but it's like, that's the expectations we have for Arkansas. That's what we think this team is capable of doing. And listen, this team is good. They're 3-2 in SEC play. They're going to win a lot of games down the stretch here, but we just can't count on them week to week, game to game to want to be there for the entire 40 minutes. And that sucks. Now, clearly, when they are engaged, when they are motivated, when they do want to be there, the ceiling's very high. I mean, you saw some plays down the stretch in this game in the second half where you could really see like a hunger and a fight and a want to out of these guys. I mean, the plays that Carter Knox and Billy Richmond made show you that like there's still that tenacity inside these guys, but to do it for all 40 minutes on the road is just something they haven't really done yet. Even in their good performances, like against Texas Tech, it wasn't a 40-minute basketball game. Like they had weird stretches in that game too. Ultimately, you weren't able to overcome a 19-3 run to start the game. Arkansas didn't shoot the ball well, which really wasn't even the big issue. You just can't shoot the ball poorly and also not take care of the ball and also be bad defensively and also have matchup nightmares all over the floor. You just weren't able to overcome it all in this game, and it's a disappointing effort.
It was a disappointing effort. Yeah, I'll give you one, right? Like, okay, sure, burn the tape from Auburn. Fine. That wasn't my team at Auburn. Fine. But when you do it again, maybe it just kind of is right now. And I understand teams get better throughout the course of the season. Sure, Arkansas will. So will a lot of teams in the SEC. Yes, I know Arkansas started 0-5 in league play last year and they rallied, whatever. We were kind of hoping that they were beyond that type of stuff. So this is frustrating, especially when the blueprint of exactly what you can't do in a road game like this was laid out for you a week ago, and you went out and followed the exact same thing on this. That's what's so frustrating to me. You cannot start games like this and expect to win. It takes too much out of you to rally back and finish it off. What in the world happened at the start of this game, Andrew? Was it 19-3 or something? Was Arkansas surprised that Georgia was pressuring them or that they play fast? They've done it all year. Like, did they watch film leading up to this? Did they do a scouting report? I'm sure that they did, which makes it baffling to me how this happened. I'm trying to wrap my head around how they looked so unprepared and not ready to play, just like overwhelmed to start this basketball game. It's crazy to me.
I mean, anyone who plays college basketball or, watch college basketball or coach it, whatever, you just kind of know, hey, when you're in these big games against good teams, every single pass you make is going to be contested. Every single shot you take is going to be contested. You're going to have to work to get good looks. Like, you just kind of know what to expect. And we've seen Arkansas come into some matchups where they kind of know what to expect and they rise to that occasion. You can tell they faced some great defenses and gotten high-level shots. They faced great defenses and taken great care of the basketball. We know they can when they really need to, but they come into these matchups and it's like they're surprised by the effort they're seeing from the other team.
Effort's the key word.
Listen, Auburn and Georgia, solid teams that are talented that are going to win some games. You're going to face far better, more well-rounded teams that don't have these weird stretches like Auburn and Georgia. So the fact that you're like openly scared of that effort and you kind of get shy away from that and you're stunned by it when you see it away from home really concerns me, knowing you're going to have to face big time competition. You're going to have to do it away from Bud Walton Arena. I have no doubt that they're going to come back Tuesday night, play well against Vanderbilt, and we'll say, wow, man, this team's got a high ceiling. Clearly, they can beat anyone on any given night, and we'll feel that way. And we're right to feel that way. But you just know away from home, and it's their last 2 road games now. What is it? 76 points and 72 points, I believe, in their last 2 road games for a team that's top 10 in offensive efficiency. That's a little bit of a red flag for me.
Yeah, it's a red flag for me too. And again, like you could sell me on you walked into a hornet's nest buzzsaw thing once. You can't do that with me here against Georgia. They just lost to Ole Miss at home.
Right.
They just lost to Ole Miss at home. I understand that they were motivated. You should be motivated to come out and play in a game like this. Like it shouldn't take gee Willikers, we know Georgia's going to be fired up for this one. I guess we better play hard. It should just be a given. And that type of focus and effort to start the game. And it's not just the start. It was the entire first half. It drug into the second half. It really wasn't until about like the 12, 13 minute mark that they decided, yeah, I guess we'll turn it on now. And it's just, it's too little too late. It's too difficult to win on the road in this league anyway, but you can't spot somebody a half and a half and expect to come back and win a game. It's ridiculous.
It felt like also, Arkansas clearly, once they found themselves deep in the hole, deep in the bunker and behind the 8 ball, they started clawing themselves back. And I felt like there were moments in this games that just really deflated Arkansas, which, happened when an opponent hits a big 3 or you don't get a break that goes your way. It kind of is deflating. That happened a lot of times. And Malik Thomas, who, by the way, I think Malik Thomas actually played really hard in this game. Like, I don't really have a problem with the decisions he made or some of the things he did, just did not make shots. And there were several opportunities where it's like 4-point game. Oh, Malik Thomas has a 3 and he misses it. And you're like, oh man, if that goes in, it's a completely different game. And then, of course, you have Georgia makes 4 straight scores. Arkansas finally gets a stop, and then Nick Pringle gets his pocket picked by a guard, turns into a 3. Now it's a 5-point game. Just completely, those moments really took a lot out of Arkansas. And after a while, they just kind of were like, no more. This isn't our night. And they accept that this isn't our night a lot. Like, that's happened like 4 or 5 times this year where we openly see Arkansas kind of make that decision. Okay, we gave them our best shot, and we're not winning this game.
Yeah, what's crazy is Mike White didn't do like a pregame preview or press conference, but he was asked one question, like what after they lost to Ole Miss, right after that game, he was asked about Arkansas, like, hey, that's who's up on the schedule. Have you watched any film? What do you make of them? And Mike White himself said, well, they're one of the most athletic, talented teams in the open court in the country. We can't go into this game thinking we're going to turn them over 20 plus times because it's just not going to happen. Arkansas turns it over 18 times in this basketball game. It's crazy. An Arkansas team that should have been licking their chops at the possibility of a Georgia team who just gave up 97 to Ole Miss that wants to play fast with you. And they were not ready for it, man. And some of it's just wild. I'm fine if you go on the road and maybe you have a bad shooting night like this. You shoot 40% from the field. You're 5 of 21 from 3. Sometimes that's going to happen. But some of the carelessness in there was crazy to me, man. The turnovers were like just losing your dribble, just dribbling down the floor and just losing it. Countless numbers of passes hitting guys in the hands that they just weren't able to corral. A level of softness in there around the rim. I like the idea of being, hey, aggressive, trying to get downhill and attack. Santos Surreal is one of the best shot blockers in the country. You better go in there strong if you're going to challenge him. And time again, they didn't do that. I just the effort and the focus and the execution out of the gates is something that it's going to stick with me for a while.
I'm glad you mentioned Mike White's comments because it kind of tells you like this wasn't just a matchup thing where it's like, oh man, we face this team that's going to ramp up the pressure. Like one, you knew that was kind of what was going to happen. And Arkansas's done this and played a high pace and a high, fast paced style and not turn the ball over. They literally just did it. Had 4 turnovers 3 days ago. Surreal also, you meant like he was pretty dominant on the interior on both ends, honestly. The only time Arkansas really flustered him or tried to take him out of the game was when Malik Ewan punched him in the chest and he didn't
they were taking cheap shots at him.
Yeah, was trying to get his technical call. That was the most resistance. Arkansas, I looked up at halftime and Cyril had 0 fouls and I was like, ooh, that feels like maybe not a good sign, because that's really with Cyril. We've seen multiple teams do it where they're able to kind of neutralize his impact by either getting him in foul trouble or stretching him out and knocking some threes, or maybe just playing a certain way. Arkansas did none of that with what I thought was Georgia's most important weapon in this game, and not taking care of the ball, man. It's just, you just can't overcome that. Arkansas actually had more fast break points than Georgia, which is actually kind of crazy, which further proves the point that it's like, this wasn't just a, hey, we just can't play that style, or it was a matchup issue. They careless. You use that word careless. That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, they got to play stronger in there too. Maybe we need to send them over to the Fight House gym over at Northwest Arkansas. It's number one boxing, MMA, and strength training gym built for athletes, competitors, and anyone ready to push their limits. From high energy boxing and MMA training to free weights, elite cardio equipment, sleds, and cross training, Fight House Gym delivers everything you need to train at the highest level. It's not just a gym, it's a mindset. Fight House Gym is now open at 10131 Webb Way in Fayetteville. It's exit 58 off of I-49. Sign up today at fighthouseGym.com or call 951-623-9745. Step inside, bring the fight, and maybe you'll see the Razorback basketball team in there. Frustrating game, Andrew. Blue Cane. That's crazy to me, man. You do all that to fight back and tie this game. And shout out to Billy for being the catalyst for that. I will point out like the 3 good things that happened in this game, but his effort in that stretch to he got everyone else on the team going as Arkansas came back and tied that game. And then, Jeremiah Wilkerson, we know how great of a scorer he is. He had 20, and Somto's a monster in there. Okay, fine. But it was Blue Cane who just took over on him. ISOs, mid-range pull-ups, spin moves, finishing at the cup. They had no answer for him. And then Arkansas went ice cold. What did they finish at the end of this game? Arkansas made one of their last 12 shots from the field. They did all that to get back into it and then went 1 of 12 down the stretch. It was 70-70. And I think Blue Cane gave him the lead. And then I can't remember which one of them it was for Georgia, but he pulled up from 35 feet on a ball screen where he got switched off onto Pringle and drilled it. It was 75-70, and it was curtains. The game was over at that point. And it was almost like, they emptied the tank getting back into it. As soon as Georgia pushed back, it was a wrap.
Yeah, I mean, in like 4 straight buckets, and then you get the stop. That has to be like a huge moment of greatness. And then you get your pocket picked, and then he hits a 3. That's just brutal. Blue Cane, what was he? 0 of 15 in SEC play from 3 coming into this?
Yep.
Of course, he goes 2 for 5. Knocks down a couple huge threes I felt like were huge momentum threes when he hit them, and then just ISOing dudes. I mean, it was just straight up taking them off the bounce. Arkansas even contested a couple of them pretty well, but those are just tough ones. And credits. I mean, Georgia's I feel like Georgia to me is like, I don't know where they're going to end up in terms of seeding for the NCAA tournament, but like they are just your standard pretty good team in the SEC. Like that is just a very adequate. And that's why winning this game would have been so cool, because we could just be like, all right, you can go out on the road and beat just a solid team. Now we can talk about, can you go on the road and beat really good teams and yada, yada. To be so I know it wasn't a blowout, but to not even really be that close to beating Georgia is it's depressing me. I don't really know how to process it.
Yeah, it was a belt ass situation, man. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Got to wear it.
Dude, Georgia was ready to quit in multiple. They were also like getting a little tight. I mean, that Ole Miss loss had just happened at home. They were getting ready to kind of, and by the way,
they were getting ready to do what they do every year.
Right.
Which is start playing real teams and fold.
Yeah.
But
you called it. You were like, man, if Arkansas goes on a 6-0 run here, they could really put some pressure on them. They do that. They tie it up, and then that was it.
Shout out to them for the response. And you said this earlier, but credit where it's due to them for, they get hit with a little bit of adversity for the first time in the game, and they responded and wound up closing it out. Arkansas, man, just wasn't able to get it done.
That is a very very solid win. I don't want to take too much away. Sure. Like you're giving them credit. Like that is a very big win for Georgia. I just don't necessarily buy that this is about to be the story of their ascent to the great heights in the SEC.
Well, just like the Auburn game wasn't the story of their ascent to the heights of the SEC. They turn around and get popped by Missouri the next game. I don't know who Georgia plays next. Wouldn't surprise me if they take an L in that game. Just like as frustrating as this was, it wouldn't surprise me if Arkansas wins at home against Vanderbilt. I don't even know who they play on the road next. Oklahoma, maybe. They'll probably go lose that game. It's just the strangest thing from home to road. And you know it's more difficult when you get out of your gym. You got to get yourself in the mindset to be out there and be ready to play. Change the routine, man. Breakfast earlier, a harder shoot around. I have no idea, but something's got to give.
You know, the closer you get to March, you usually do see that kind of attention to detail ramp up, especially for some of these older guys where it's like, dude, you've got like 12 games left in your career. You know what I mean? Like, you have no idea how long your career is going to last. Like, why are you going to spend 6-minute stretches of each game being completely out of it? And it is kind of crazy that there is a carelessness in multiple stretches of these games. I mean, even against South Carolina, they just happen to be winning those stretches, but they were pretty careless. They just happen to be whipping ass while they were careless.
Yeah. No
Maybe
kidding.
that's the issue, is that they can get away with being careless because sometimes they are good enough to just overwhelm teams.
It's fair. Georgia turned it over 17 times.
Allegedly.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm kind of ready to get into the chat. This is a live reaction show, so people want to vent. Let's hear what the people have to say. First, one more shout out to our sponsors here for the Pod the Palace postgame show. It's OZK Insurance. One thing that sets OZK Insurance apart is they're an independent insurance agency. It means they're not tied to one company. They can shop all the carriers and find the best coverage and price for you. And now they've paired that with something you don't really see often from an independent agency. It's a full-service mobile app. You can see all your policies under one roof, home, auto, whatever you have. You can pay your bills, file claims, request policy changes, or even get new quotes all right there from your phone. If you're tired of being stuck with one carrier or chasing down paperwork, go to ozkinsurance.com or search OZK Insurance in the App Store or Google Play. It's a local agency with national-level options, one powerful app. It's OZK Insurance. All righty. Here goes nothing. I'm sure people are pissed off, and frankly, I don't blame any of you. So
yeah.
Okay. Damon Shaw Photos says, who was slower to react, Arkansas after the tip-off or the scoreboard operator for ESPN2?
Yeah, it was tough.
Holy cow. Yeah.
It was a tough go of it.
I've never really seen that happen. Like, sometimes there'll be a delay or it might be a short segment. It was the entire game. That dude was like 4 possessions behind. Whoever was in charge of that. I don't know if it was someone not paying attention or if it was like a glitch or what, but holy crap, man, that was nuts.
Yeah, there was a point in this game where, like, and Arkansas was kind of down the entire time, obviously, but like I was like, man, I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was only a 12-point game instead of a 16-point game, because my brain had gotten scrambled by the different things. They hit a 3, and I'm like, oh, I think that make it a 16-point game, and it like really wasn't as bad because they were so bad. That's a tough one.
Yeah. The student section, we appreciate the super chat, says every time Leak shot it, we lost all momentum. Yeah, I mean, it was a rough day at the office for Leak for sure. 4 of 17 in this game, and I mean, it was a rough one. Just a bad performance from Leak. It wasn't falling for him. I'm with you. I did think he played hard consistently relative to maybe some other guys out there. Got to be better than that. I'm not going to let one game that he was off, make me forget about the 4 games previously in SEC play where he's been awesome for Arkansas. So I know whenever something like this happens, you want to know why. And so sometimes people are mad at the coach, sometimes it's the effort, sometimes you kind of go, pick the guy who stunk the most on a given night. And Leak would probably be one who's up there on that list. So I get it. I wouldn't even say, student section, that it was momentum lost every time Leak missed a shot or took a shot, but almost like he had so many shots where it could have been momentum gained that didn't go down, that typically do. Like he missed a bunch of shots. He's shooting over 40% on high volume from 3 on the year coming into this one. But he had a bunch of attempts there that could have started a rally or could have been that big. Oh, he nailed that one. Georgia's got to call a timeout now. Oh, there's the silencer in the crowd, or the one that ends a run. And it felt like every single one of those, with the exception of one, he missed. I will agree with that.
We've spent a lot of this season being like, oh, Malik Thomas's shooting splits are going to overcorrect. Today, they overcorrected in a bad way for the first time. He's a 40% shooter that never goes 4 for 10. He either goes 1 for 11 or 6 for 8. It's like, it's just one of those things. And I come back to, like, I'd point to all those threes. There were some in between shots that I didn't love, but most of the threes that he took, I'm like, take it again. Like, I don't really know what else you could have asked for there other than to make it.
Yeah. And I would also say, and I get it, like, at some point you've got to, one line of thinking is, well, you got to realize that it's just not your night. All right, so let somebody else take the shot. But the other part of it is he's kind of a guy that you want to keep shooting. And then like who the hell else do you want taking the shot? Honestly.
Yeah.
A Cuff or who? So
I think I even texted you at one point where I was like, if Arkansas is going to come back and win, he has to make like 4 threes. Sure. And I specifically said Malik, like, would you prefer DJ Wagner take 11 threes? Like, probably not.
Yeah. 5 of 21. Is 5? I'm sure they've had a game where they've made fewer than 5 threes. I don't know. Filthy Tom, we appreciate you, says TB had a plus minus of minus 28. Yeah, that's brutal. I'm guessing if that's the one that you brought up, that was the lowest on the team, but let me look real quick. Yeah. Oh, wow. By a wide margin. DJ was minus 14, but minus 28 in 25 minutes for TB. Yeah, it was a rough one for him in there. 2 rebounds in this game. Just that feels between the 2 rebounds. And one thing I've noticed is he's just not challenging anything in the paint or around the rim anymore. And when I mean not challenging, I'm not saying, well, he's going for blocks and he's not getting them. He's not altering. He's not deflecting. He's not even making an attempt to challenge a lot of stuff around the rim anymore. And I don't understand why that's the case. That's how you wind up minus 28. It's more than it's because he's 8 points and 4 of 7 from the field or whatever, more than him not hitting his scoring average. It's effort on the glass, and it's just showing some resistance in there. How many times does Arkansas have a good defensive possession, give up an offensive rebound, or you get a guy in no man's land and you squeak it out from him? Like Arkansas is good at poking balls out of guys' hands there in the paint, but then they pick it up and nobody even gets across the lane to challenge, and it's an easy layup. And TB is a prime offender of that kind of stuff. So I guess I'm not really surprised to see that in this one.
Yeah, we've praised him for kind of surveying and stealing some of those passes and passing lanes. Maybe he's so busy worried about that he's not worried about rim protection at all. I mean, this is a guy that was blocking 2 shots a game at Missouri his freshman year. Like, we know there's some rim protection in there. I agree with the sentiment that it's more like him not hitting his scoring average isn't really nearly as big of a deal. But I will also add his first 3-point attempt came when the game was already over with like 1 minute left in the game. If you're going to be soft and you're going to be not rebounding and you're not contesting shots at the rim, you kind of have to be a dynamic scorer, which we've seen he can be, but especially in this game, I felt like he was so bad on defense that they couldn't play him. And then they missed his offense.
They definitely, they missed him, period. It's kind of one of those notes.
Whether he was on the court or not, they were missing his presence.
And you remember how good he was at early in the season. I understand like the level of competition, but he kept blocking 3-point attempts on the perimeter.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he just feels like he can do that against anybody, but Arkansas is notorious for short, lazy closeouts from 3. That's how a team pops you for 12 in a game like this. And he's a Fender A out there. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, any of these guys, like Catchings, for example, that he can hit the 3 and that's your matchup. Wilkins, when he comes in, after he hits the first one, maybe we consider closing out there. I know it was Billy one time on him, but I just like the urgency of it all and just understanding how damn hard you have to play defensively on the road. This team just doesn't seem to get it. They showed it for whatever it was, like a 4.5 minute stretch in this game, but you're just not going to win when you can't bring it consistently. Sharkensaw says 29 points on 17 turnovers. We have an extremely bad habit of giving up live ball turnovers, usually in very important moments. You're 100% right. And, we'll look up and Arkansas will still be top 20 in the country in turnover percentage or whatever, but it has been worse in SEC play. And you're 100% onto something with the live ball stuff. Arkansas gets their pockets picked or gives up turnovers at mid-court so often. DJ is guilty of it. Leak is guilty of it. A-Cuff was really bad about it today. Carter Knox, at one point, he's just out there on the top of the key, and somebody just walked and just casually took the ball out of his hands and then dribbled down, and Carter fouled him and gave up an and one. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. And they're very, very bad about that. They were telegraphing stuff in this game on their heels because of that pressure, and instead of attacking it, it was bad. You can't turn it over 17 times on the road against a team that thrives off of that and expect to win a game, and they didn't.
And the transition defense is always bad. You know, like no matter how many turnovers they give up or however many turnovers they have, it always leads to a ton of points. Mm-hmm. Like the two teams turn the ball over pretty similarly in terms of overall turnovers, but the points off turnovers greatly favor Georgia because I think they give up on a lot of those possessions.
Yeah, I think so too. We're going to get to a handful more chats here, and then we've got some clips from Cal, which I'm interested to hear what he has to say. I hope he's not on repeat, but we'll see. Shout out to Acme Bricks. Appreciate the super chat. It says today's Acme Brickhead of the game is none other than Nick Pringle. Congratulations to Nick for another terrible performance. We now know that the South Carolina game was not a catalyst to things to come. It was a rough showing for Nick, man. And most everyone on the roster didn't play particularly well in this game, but just some killer stuff there. I don't know how many passes hit that man right in the hands and he's not able to corral it. That's brutal. And you look up at the end of the game, 3 points, 2 rebounds. Wasn't necessarily doing much as a paint defender. Like sometimes it's the stuff that doesn't show up in the box score. That wasn't necessarily there either. And, Malik Ewan is not void of criticism for his performance, especially defensively in this game, but he was banging with Samto Surreal in there and was like basically challenging to a fight and dropping a shoulder into him and trying to get him in foul trouble. And he finished with 12 and 7 in this game. I know that. Listen, I understand that the who starts doesn't really matter, and it's about who finishes and what's the minutes distribution and look like. Malik Ewan needs to be playing significantly more minutes at this stage. He's got to. I mean, this is crazy. And when Arkansas did all that work to come back, someone checked into the game, and there were a couple. I'm not saying that's the only reason that it went the way that it went, but there were a couple very key moments there that swung the game back in the opposite direction. It is what it is, man.
To further that point, so in the first half, Nick Pringle played 13 minutes and Ewan played 7. And I remember thinking, man, they really need to flip that around. They quite literally did flip it. Ewan played 13 minutes in the second half. Pringle only played 6. And by the way, in those 13 second half minutes, Malik Ewan was plus 6. Mm-hmm. If we since we're citing plus minus, people love that. I'm with you where it's like it's not a direct A to B. Every time Nick Pringle's in the game, Arkansas's bad. Every time Ewan's in, they're good. But I think we all agree the best version of this Arkansas team involves Malik Ewan. And by the way, he was the most physical. He was the best defensive big man Arkansas had in this game, I thought. Not that he was great. I mean, there was some but like you mentioned that block on Cyril, like that's impressive stuff. Like he at least hung in there, grabbed some boards, and threatened on the offensive end. And I felt like he made some nice outlet passes. Like I'm with you. I think it's time to, for the billionth time, reintroduce that conversation of like, let's figure something out here.
It feels like instead of, because what did it wind up being? Yeah, well, you're right. 20 and 19, 20 and 20. It was about exactly a 50-50 split there. This needs to be like 80-20, man. Yeah. It's like, it needs to be like 30 and 10 in the minutes or something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I know technically Arkansas lost the second half. I guess they lost the second half by 1, lost the first half by 13. You lose both halves, but like we agree they were a much more legitimate real basketball team in the second half where Malik Ewan happened to play more minutes.
Yeah. There you go. From Woo Pig Nation, appreciate the super sticker. Thank you for that. And appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. And I know at some point we're going to have a Saturday where it's a road game and it's under better circumstances, I would hope. And we could have a blast here, but yeah, it's a frustrating one. So this is a good place for you to let it all out. And so we're going to do that here. Hayden says, do the Monstars take our talent when we board the plane? Maybe so. Remember how they had it in the basketball? And so maybe it's the deal where the ref, he'll give A-Cup the ball and then oh yeah, it's got a good grip or whatever. Here, I'll pass it to Billy. And then, okay, he'll give it to TB before the jump ball. Every Razorback touched it, and I didn't see any of the Georgia players touch it. So there went the powers, and they just weren't ready to play for the first half of the basketball game.
Well, and one thing that what Arkansas does really well at home, they shoot the ball very well at home. They take care of the ball very well at home, and they speed up their opponent and get them playing frantic at home. It's really hard to go on the road and do all those things. You're just going to be a worse shooting team on the road, all those things, and I think that's also a big issue here.
Yeah, for sure. From Tuna's House, we appreciate you, says, as a good parent would say, I'm not mad, just disappointed. They don't care about the ball. Talent without discipline equals bad team. We're too soft. Yeah, I mean, listen, the carelessness and the softness with the basketball today was it was unnerving. It really was. And yeah, that kind of stuff equals getting your butt kicked when you go on the road. Like you were just talking about, you can get away with some of that stuff at home because the crowd can get you going and you're more comfortable in your own gym, and all that stuff is very true. But you take that nonsense on the road, you're going to get beat 9 times out of 10. Let's listen to a couple Cal clips here. I don't know what the good ones are, so let me see what John has to say. Nothing too wild, but okay. Well, we'll just kind of work our way through these and see what he has to say. This is about the start of the game issues that Arkansas continues to be plagued by.
They pressed, and we were struggling to get it in, struggling to get it up the court. And then all of a sudden we were on our heels and they were being the aggressor. And that's who we wanted to be today. I wasn't sure whether they'd pick up and do that because of our guard play, and we don't turn it over that much. But he looked at it and said, you know what, this is who we are, we're doing it. And they did it, and they played well in it.
So you just didn't prepare for it then? Or it feels like it would be a lot easier to expect that coming out, and then if they just back up and they're playing you in a sagging man, then make that adjustment, as opposed to expecting a lethargic defensive effort after Mike White just went nuclear on them in a post-game presser after you gave up 100 to damn Ole Miss. Like, what did you expect?
I think there's definitely something to, like, every game you should be going in expecting the best team in the country to play against you. And then you will be pleased a lot of nights because you won't be playing the best team in the country and you'll have a lot of success. But it's like, I'm tired of using the thing of, well, they were better than we thought they would be. It's like, I don't know, man. That's a tough one for me.
That's a rough one. Let's hear what he has to say about the turnover issues. Probably something similar.
They give them credit, but we're not that kind of team. That means you're trying.
You are that kind of team on the road because you play casual. That's what's got to get fixed here. I don't understand.
Trying to get your own before you try to pass. And so you get too deep. You get in trouble. When there are people open, you got to give it to them. And there are times where you pass the ball just to pass it. Pass, and now the court space, then you can make plays. We didn't. There were times where 18 seconds on the clock, we went one-on-one. When did we do that? I mean,
at Auburn is where you did that. Maybe shouldn't have burned the film. Maybe they should have watched every possession of that last night and said, hey, just a PSA, we're not going to do that against Georgia. That would have been my best advice.
And I don't know, again, what led to that. But again, I'm telling all the guys, just take responsibility, man. You know, look at your own game, take responsibility. I'll do the same. But that's a good win for them. And, you know, it's a hard place to play. I mean, we got it to where we were, and I thought we had a chance. If we hadn't been down that much early, we'd have been up for it. A little different game. But you go down 18 or whatever we were down, it's hard.
Well, it is a fairly common theme that we're seeing at this point with the slow starts. So I don't know, man.
Hard to disagree with his statement that it's hard to come back down 18.
Yeah, I mean, nailed it. How do you not get down 18? How do you show up ready to play a basketball game that has been scheduled for months? I don't know, but hell, we might as well listen to the rest of these. What led to the comeback? I think we know what led to the comeback. You started
a group in that played well together, and they all competed. They were all fighting like crazy, and then you just ride them, and that's what we did. And then I changed it when they scored that to get up 5 because I wanted to try something different. Obviously, that didn't work, but I rode that other group and just played them.
Fair enough. Because he did do like a line change. Well, he doesn't have enough players on his roster to do a line change, but he brought his 3 subs in back in there. Was it Billy cramping? Is that what it was?
Yes,
I think
he had that stretch where he was, I mean, literally the best player on the floor, and then he got the bucket, and as soon as he landed, it wasn't the landing, I don't think. I think it was definitely a cramp overexertion thing. Gotcha. Him and Carter were both playing so hard that they kept getting like fatigue subbed for each other like every minute. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. One more clip here, and I think this is just kind of his opening rant. So we'll just see.
We went over it. You can't do that. And then you start down 7, 8, 9, nothing. I got to call a timeout on us, on me. Obviously, if they're not responding, then I'm not communicating as well as I need to in that situation. Now, what I loved is we fought, tied the game up. I thought we were going to win the game. And then you make 2 errors, and it's 5, and then all of a sudden you miss a shot at 7, 8, ball game. But to get it to where it was when we were down as much as we were was a pretty big deal.
It's not that big of a deal. the 14-point loss still counts the same at the end of the day. I'm not doing the moral victory thing here for that. Like, I acknowledge that they just kind of fully quit against Auburn and they fought back in this game, but kind of like you said, I'm not too worked up over that when you still wind up losing the game by 14. It's tough. You can't start that way, and you certainly can't finish that way.
You know, we react to a lot of these Cal clips, and we almost always react positively. In fact, there's been a lot of times in losses where we react very positively to the things he says, where we're like, kind of that's what I was thinking as well. My question is, how can you expect your team to play every single possession with the same intensity and the same attention to detail and the same want to if you are glossing over several possessions in a row by just being like, well, it's a tie game, and then, it's 5, and then it's 9, and, whatever, and you're just kind of glossing over it. It's like, every single one of these possessions add up. Every single one of these possessions, the game is on the line. Like, that is the type of messaging you should be sending, and that's the type of feeling your team should have, where it's like they felt that desperation in the second half. Why did you not feel that desperation when it was 0-0? When the game was very much 50-50 up for grabs, why were you not fighting like hell to get that upper hand? When he's glossing over it like that, I feel like it's tough to be like, I don't know why my team just didn't play with that much intensity on the most important possessions of the game. Because I'm sitting here talking about them like they're nothing.
Yeah. You weren't ready for Auburn, and it showed. And then you had that right there in front of you and weren't even able to use that to get ready for this Georgia game. And then that showed. So it is a little bit of a pattern now. And hey, again, like Arkansas is good. All right. Like they're going to win plenty of games in this league. It's a down league. They're 1 game off pace, whatever. Okay, fine. Understand that. But now we've gone from, that one off against Auburn. Yeah, every team has one of those. And yeah, Cal's teams get their butt kicked once on the road every year. Okay, forget about it, to now it's a pattern. So I hope that they play well at home. I think next week they've got Vandy, and I think LSU is the Saturday home game. You better go 2-0. I kind of expect them to, but my eyes are going to be fixated on when they go on the road and see Oklahoma, and when they go, who else they go on the road? They got to go play Florida. Bama and Florida and Missouri. So they've got a bunch of road games coming up here, Mississippi State. And if you don't make some corrections to whatever it is you're doing to go out and play these SEC road games, you're going to keep getting the same result, and it's going to put you in a tough spot. So I would hope that they're going to make the improvements and play better on the road than they have, but with back-to-backs that have been like this, it's frustrating and it's alarming. It's going to be something that is going to stick in the back of the mind until you see them do something a little bit differently.
Yeah, and let's be clear, like, obviously we're very disappointed, and it's because we think this team has like top 10, top 15 potential, and they're clearly not there yet.
Sure.
They're still like going to make the tournament. Like, even if they don't fix the road issues, they will still make the tournament comfortably as in 7, 8 seed, whatever. A few road wins, you can get up there into the 6, 5 range or whatever. It's just something that no matter what seed you are, even if this team turns it around and they're a 3 seed entering the tournament, you just know they have this in their DNA, and we've seen it too many times to just, gloss over it like it's just a one-off thing. You can't have 6 one-off losses.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true. So we'll see if they're able to flip that. And they also have to, because the same thing applies that did at Auburn. Like, you can't let the game right before beat you twice. Like, they do have to respond in this spot. Going and beating a team like Vanderbilt would be that'll be a huge win for Arkansas. They need it at this point because they've had 2 decent enough quadrant 1 type of opportunities on the road, and they've let them both slip by the wayside here. But guess what? I know that this game is at Bud Walton Arena. I understand it, but think about the position that Auburn was in coming into that game against Arkansas. Kind of backs against the wall, wounded animal. Think about how it just was against Georgia. You lost that buzzer beater to Ole Miss. You're pissed off, and you're going to come play with your hair lit on fire. What position is Vanderbilt in right now? after an 0-2 week here with heartbreak. So you've got them at home, but they're going to come in and they're going to give their very best effort of the season. And you've got to be ready to play. You got to understand that you were going to play a basketball game on Tuesday where a very good team is going to come out there on your floor and play very, very hard and motivated. And Arkansas's got to be ready to do the same.
Dude, they're better than Georgia. I watched a lot of that Vanderbilt-Florida game today.
They are.
This was not a case of like just, Florida just flexing their muscle. That was a freaking fight. That was back and forth. Yeah. Those are the two best teams in the SEC as of right now.
Yes.
Those are the two best teams. I know Vanderbilt went 0-2 this week, and people think they're about to fall off the wagon. They're very good. That's going to be a tough one Tuesday.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Back to the chats here. Mason, appreciate you, says Nick Pringle just can't start anymore. And I'd say the same about DJ, but that won't happen. Yeah. Listen, I don't know if they're going to make any moves in the starting lineup or not. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I would tend to agree with you. The bare minimum for me, I think the minutes have to flip. The minutes have to flip. And, Ewan's got to do his part too. And he has been lately, but if you really want to see, if you're in the camp, it's like, all right, Malik Ewan needs to start and he just got to be the guy. He's playing 30 minutes a game and Pringle or whoever's coming in to give him a quick breather or one rotation off or whatever. If you want him to be that guy, then Ewan's got to have that motor running hot at all times. He's got to bring the energy defensively at all times, because that's part of the decision-making for Cal. It's like, all right, well, when Arkansas is struggling to get stops or whatever, if there's one possession where Ewan lets his guy drive right by him or he doesn't give the extra effort to contest at the rim, Cal's yanking his butt out of there, and he's going to turn back to Pringle. And that's just that's the precedent that's been set, whether we like it or not. And then maybe the other guy gets a little bit more leeway by not catching 6 passes in a row or whatever. I get it. I understand, but that's just kind of the way it is. So Ewan is going to have to really grab the bull by the horns if he wants to overtake here.
I'm glad you articulated that well, because I felt that, but didn't know exactly how to word that. But like every time Nick Pringle makes a good play, I'm kind of like, oh, they're gonna keep him in for another 4. And anytime Pringle or Ewan gets called for a foul, I'm like, please don't, no, keep him in, because you kind of feel that, knee jerk reaction coming.
Yeah. You also mentioned DJ, and I got to be honest with you, I have to look at the box score here because I don't remember too much about DJ's game except for one just inexplicably telegraphed pass he tried to make to the wing for a turnover, and one time just dribbling the basketball, and it was like his hand just didn't even hit the ball when it came back. He just lost it, man. So some wacky stuff there. 4 points. The one thing I said, Andrew, in the build up to this game, I always do the matchup preview, right, with the player on player, position by position. And I said, we don't have to have the DJ Wagner that Arkansas got against South Carolina every single game, but we've got to be done with the 1 of 5, 1 of 6 nonsense. Like you cannot have that. And right back to it, 1 of 5, 4 points, and wasn't overly impactful in there. But you're right. That probably won't happen, and it's damn sure not going to happen after Malik Thomas goes 4 of 17. So
yeah, DJ also had another just classic great move, attack, good stuff, and just misses the layup. Just leaves it a little short.
Yep. Sheesh. All right, moving on. Cats by 21. We do appreciate you being in here, and thanks for the super chat. And also, hey, I'll give credit where it's due. Hell of a comeback. You know what?
Yeah.
Kentucky made the comeback in a road environment twice this week, and they finished it. They won the damn game. They did against LSU. They did against Tennessee. They've got a lot of work to do, but you know what they're doing? They're finding a way right now. And so it's a hell of a lot of effort there on their part. And it's a flawed basketball team, just like everybody else in this league, but credit where it's due for them. So, and that's why I'm falling short of the, wow, but man, they really battled back today. Yeah. You still lost by 14. You figure it out and win a game like that is what you need to do at some point here.
You know what? Kentucky basketball, believe it or not, they have a trait on their team this year that I wish this Razorback team had. They have an ability for like a 20-minute stretch to just tread water.
Yeah.
Which may not sound like a cool thing, but seriously, there was like 10 minutes in this game where I was like, please just tread water. Like it's a 7-point game. Let's just tread water for 10 minutes here and then make a run when we need. Kentucky made their run at literally the last possible opportunity, but they were hanging around. They gave themselves a chance. I mean, they got down I think it was almost 20 in the first half of that game. I mean, they were about to get run out of the gym. They were able to kind of make the gap okay, and then they just hung around. And Arkansas doesn't have that just hang around, stay still for a few minutes. It always has to be a 10-0 run for Arkansas or a 10-0 deficit, and it's got to be this crazy game of runs. It's like sometimes let's just hang out where the score's at for a while.
For sure. To your super chat, by the way, he says, at what point does Cal just start saving the tapes and have one big bonfire in April? Maybe even invite the Inside Arkansas boys over. I would go to that bonfire. I would make a s'more over that bonfire for sure.
Yeah, I'd have the Houston game right there, and I'd just be, doing my marshmallow.
Exactly. So what is that? So last year it was the South Carolina game. That was the burn the tape game. Auburn is one this year. Obviously, this game probably Houston. If
Houston's close.
Yeah,
Houston, you can just say they played really well. That's what you can do with that one. You don't burn that tape. You just I don't know. He's got
a lot more tapes before we're gonna have a decent fire. Right now he's got to still go out and collect wood if you're gonna have a bonfire that's gonna last for a while. But he's starting to get a little bit of a collection for sure.
Do you want to make a prediction on the next burnt tape game? Because I do. I think it's going to be the Florida game.
You think it's going to be the Florida game?
I think they'll play well between now and the Florida game to the point where we're like, oh, they've got it out of their system. And they're just going to get punked like 88-62 for in Gainesville. And that'll be another, this isn't my team. That's not how we play. That's not our character.
You might be right. You might be right about that. I've got my eyes on, I know we're going. I do not feel good about that Oklahoma game at all. And I know it's first of all, it's the next one, but that's a dangerous team because they've got some offensive firepower, and it's going to be another one of those sleepy gyms. And they damn near beat Alabama in there today. Like I do not like that at all.
I don't know how they didn't beat Bama, frankly.
I don't
was
either.
Watching a decent amount of that game and turned it off because I was so sure Oklahoma was winning. And I look up, they lose by 2. I'll have to look back into that one. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. Jane Neighbors says, how many times did we get blocked on a transition layup? Too many. Arkansas, best in the nation in terms of not getting their shot blocked, got blocked 11 times in this game. I think Surreal had 6 of them. And it happened quite a few times in transition, chase down blocks. And to further your point earlier, Andrew, about Arkansas's transition defense, Arkansas doesn't get too many of those chase down blocks because they don't sprint back enough in transition. They give up on plays after turnovers and stuff. That's irritating. They had a couple instances today where they did get it. And I was like, dang, where's that been? Like, look at that athleticism. That's crazy. But sometimes they're not even inside the 3-point line sprinting back to be able to even contest a shot at the rim on the other end. But yeah, a lot of shots blocked today. Rufus is here. He says, a loss to Georgia may bruise the spirits, but Cal's bands of guards and wings have often found their stride by late January. We are almost at that arc. Patience, and the truth shall reveal itself. Woo Pig Suey from the UK. Thank you, Rufus. We needed that.
Yeah, we needed that. I saw him have another chat where he was basically like, hey, history says to have some patience here, which I do agree with to an extent. I do think Arkansas's want to is going to improve, but history also indicates that Arkansas could get popped by a 13 seed. It just does.
It's also true. That is also true. Donut Boy. Thank you. We have the follow-up here. We always get torched by good bigs. Always. Surreal had our number tonight. Surreal had 6 points and 5 rebounds. So he didn't really have your number, but he had 6 block shots. Like it was his defensive rim protection covering up for Georgia's defensive mistakes. That's what Arkansas is missing. They make mistakes and there's nobody to clean that shit up on the back end. And that's a problem for this team, which I got called an idiot all summer for saying Arkansas doesn't have enough rim protection. They didn't identify rim protection. There's more than one way to protect the rim. You don't always have to block shots. They need somebody to be an enforcer on the back end, especially this team that can't keep anybody in front of them. Georgia has that in Samto, man. And so from that standpoint, sure, I did feel like he was dominant.
Yeah, well, when you have 5 made threes by Arkansas and then rim protection like that on the back end, it's like mathematically speaking, it's like that's going to be really impossible to win if you can't score at the rim or 3. That's the opposite of what the nerds, the nerds always say, take every shot, layup or 3. Cyril basically turned this game into a mid-range fest for Arkansas.
Yeah, what did let me look real quick. Arkansas 13 of 28 on layups. in this game. 6 of 8 on dunks, but 13 of 28 on layups.
Yeah, like you shouldn't be under 50% on shots that are 2 feet away.
No, contested or not, you got to make those, especially when you're as athletic as Arkansas is. Donut Boy's back. We appreciate it. He says, every time we play an elite 4 or 5, they eat on us. Shout out to Billy for bringing the energy and keeping us in it. Knox, Brazil, Pringle, no shows.
Dude, Knox might have had the best block of the game. You talk about rim protection.
Mm-hmm.
That was like my favorite play of the game. That's when I was like, dude, Arkansas is going to win this game.
Yeah.
He did hit a couple threes too, at least, right?
Knox?
Yeah,
he hit 2. He was 2 of 4. I thought he played hard. I'm not going to be able to unsee that turnover he had though.
No, I mean where he threw it right to the guy's hand.
He's like he walked up and just took the ball from him, man. It was crazy. Yeah. But yes, you're right. The interior defense is it's problematic, and it's not just a 4 or a 5 who, you dump it in there to them and they get buckets. Like I know Cam Boozer and JT Toppin had big games, and Malik Dia is a problem. There are some guys who have hurt Arkansas from that standpoint. There are also games where they've stepped up and done really well in those spots. So it's kind of weird, but they're giving up 60% plus shooting inside the arc. It's like there's just no deterrent for teams in there. Like guards are getting paint touches too easily, and it feels like every floater, every shot around, they're just not contesting enough in there. So the paint defense it's a problem. And when you have poor on-ball defense and you don't have a rim protector to clean stuff up in there, and it's leading to rhythm threes for teams because they're collapsing you and able to kick out. It's just the defense has got a lot of work to do, man. And I didn't even think that the defense was the biggest issue in this basketball game. So.
Truly. I mean, it's tough when you have 17 turnovers that you force. So you would think like that would kind of negate some of these issues. They made 12 threes, but they took 75 of them or something like that. So it's like, I really didn't even think Arkansas's 3-point defense was that bad, but it didn't matter because they were so bad inside the arc.
Yeah, 12 of 33. So they were 36.4% from 3 in this game. Final bill to pay here. We appreciate our partners over at Blue Ember Smokehouse. I might need some of that after this game. It's like it makes you feel a little bit better about everything that's going on. It's some good stuff, some good eating, and they operate the Blue Ember way, buying only the highest quality meats, applying their signature blend of spices, and slowly smoking in their wood-only pits. They allow those meats to rest to ensure optimal tenderness. And when you go up there and order at the counter, they're going to take out a fresh slab and they're going to slice it up right there in front of you. They're not pulling the stuff back from last week from the refrigerator. It's always going to be fresh. Blue Ember also caters any events. Make sure that you check out your local location. You see the numbers on your screen. They're located in Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Rogers. You can also check out their website at www.blueembersmokehouse.com. All right. A few more chats here as we kind of wrap things up. Easton, appreciate you, says, so tough that Billy's block is overshadowed by the loss. A lot of Billy's going to be just about the only one that gets a halfway decent grade on the report card for this one, man.
Yeah.
It is a shame because it was the block and it was that whole sequence that I just felt like he galvanized the team, man. It was like that Energizer Bunny thing, and everybody started clicking at once, and you make that run and then it just kind of falls apart. I wish he wasn't cramping. Like, would that have changed something if he was able to stay in the game for that stretch? I don't know, but they need more guys to play like that more consistently, because that's effort. It's effort. And it's there are guys on this roster that are more talented or more skilled as basketball players than Billy Richmond, but nobody matches what he brings in terms of intensity, and it's consistent, man. Like, it just never drops off, and hopefully that rubs off on his teammates a little bit more. Reed, thank you. He says, I don't know how we have these vets, yet we get so sped up at the beginning of these away games. It really, really hurts us. Yeah, super sped up in this one. And it just felt like that would be something that would play into Arkansas's hands. You speed them up, you get pressured, you drive by it, and then you've got finishers on the back end. And I don't think Acuff handled it well at all early in the game. And then they put the rock in DJ's hands, and he didn't look like a third-year guard in the SEC handling that. It was problematic. And they don't settle down. I get it. The first 4 minutes or whatever, they pop you with that 11-0 run right out of the gates, and you're like, all right, Cal calls the timeout, take a breath. Now you've seen it, and let's go out there and settle into the game and execute. But they didn't settle down like the entire half, man. It was kind of the same stuff over and over. And it's a damning deal. Now, some of it is like, who are your vets? Like how great of ball handlers and, under pressure guys with the ball in their hand, like Carter and Billy and TB, are they really the best examples of being able to break pressure and attack that stuff? That not really, they haven't been. So, and the one who is able to operate in a chaotic game like that is Billy, and he's like the only one who played well. So, yeah,
a lot of your older guys are some of the most boomer bust dudes on your team. I mean, Knox and Brazil, they're Jekyll and Hyde reincarnated here. Like that's yep. So it's like you can't count on them. I do think Acuff has had multiple games this year where it takes him like 3 minutes before he really figures out what they're doing to him and what he needs to attack and like kind of what to go to. And I think he'll get better about that.
Yeah, I hope so. From Bobby, we appreciate the super chat. And then we've got the follow-up. He says, hilarious to think Wagner was the number one player in the country at one time. That dude misses at least 3 layups a game. Well, I mean, that's why he's a junior in his third year in a college basketball uniform. You know what I mean? Like not every evaluation is an accurate one. But to your point, DJ Wagner has been a much better basketball player throughout the course of his career. I mean, he's averaged double figures in this league 2 years running. And, he had a nice game against South Carolina. Great. Everyone else did. But every other game in SEC play, and he's the one with the experience here that should be kind of that calming presence on the floor like he was last year when Arkansas is dealing with injuries and they're going through it. I thought it was his leadership and the way he kind of stepped up and started running that team that really bailed him out, but hasn't been there this year. Cannot argue. Jay Rice says a Georgia cheerleader was working the scoreboard. Interesting.
You know who wouldn't have made that mistake? Mike Tomlin's daughter, who was a gymnast at Georgia. They should have had her on the scoreboard.
Yeah, there you go. Rufus is back. He says, I'm starting my own collegiate team next year. Christian Anderson, JT Toppin, Keyshawn Hall, Jeremiah Wilkinson, and Michi Johnson. The Hog Killers.
Right there.
Yeah, the Hog Killers indeed. Rod says it's time to start you, and I agree, man. I agree.
Agreed.
Cannot argue with that
firmly at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's no argument to be had, honestly. The only argument is whether or not Cal will do it, and it feels like probably not. So, Phil, we appreciate you, man, for gifting those Inside Arkansas memberships, and congratulations, I guess, to whoever got them. But we appreciate you, man. We really do. Anything else you need to say about this game, dude?
I mean, not really about this game. I will say, like, just kind of monitoring the chat. It is stunning how many people really are like, man, like this, it's over. Like this is it. And like, listen, you should be very upset about this game. Like, make no mistake about that. Like, you should be disappointed, and it should make you kind of reevaluate what this team is really going to be able to accomplish this year. There's a lot that's still in front of them, but I keep coming back to, you're going to go to the NCAA tournament, and whether you're an Elite Eight or Final Four caliber team, you're going to fall one step short because you're going to have a game like this where you just show up unprepared. And that's what gives me concern. But like, they're going to make the tournament and they're going to like be a dangerous team. It just sucks that you genuinely don't know what to expect out of them any given game. But that's also what's going to make it kind of fun down the stretch. And we'll just see if there's, any other wrinkles left in this team. Because I think they have a pretty firm identity that works at home and is a little shaky on the road. Is there any other wrinkle, whether that's starting lineup, whether that's just a fundamental thing they start doing differently defensively? That's what I'm kind of interested in. But I see a lot of people that are like really done with the team. They're like on to baseball season, and that's like insane to me.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It really is, especially when you spend a lot of time and put in a lot of effort to talk about this team and make content every day. But like, I get it, man. I understand the frustration. And there's also the segment. It's like, they're 0-5. They were 0-5 this time last year. Like, everybody, and they're acting like we're overreacting to what was another bad loss here. No, we're not. This is not last year's team. Like, the expectations for this Razorback team were higher because of the continuity, because of the returners, because you have two generational freshmen on your roster, two guys that you're probably not going to get again. You know what I mean? And so I'm not comparing this team to last year. I'm comparing them to what I think their ceiling could be for this season. And yeah, they're going to make the tournament. And yes, they're in a better spot than they were this time a year ago. But I do feel like they're leaving some on the table right now, and they got some warts here over halfway into the season that impact what they're capable of doing that they've got to figure out. So frustration is fine. And admitting that they're not playing good basketball on the road right now is fine. And they've got some shit that they've got to figure out. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not selling on the season or selling on this basketball team, but it's got to get better.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. It's crazy both sides of it. To look at last year and say, well, at least we're not 0-5, so I don't know why anybody's upset at all.
Yeah,
I think that's stupid because it undersells kind of some of these issues that are common, themes that we're starting to see here. But I also think to completely discredit and think that this team isn't going to win a ton of games down the stretch and isn't still very dangerous. I think that's also crazy. But again, I think that's kind of where we're at, is that we know this team's good, but we also can't trust them at all. And so we're going to watch every game down the stretch kind of bracing for impact a little bit, and we'll be pleasantly surprised some nights. But other than that, everyone stay warm, bro. It's cold as hell outside, and the wind's been going crazy, but hope everyone, is stocked up for the winter.
Yep. Well, we appreciate everybody for hanging out with us, and hope you're able to get some things off your chest, and maybe you can enjoy your Sunday a little bit more than you did your Saturday. But we're going to get out of here for now. For Andrew Ellis, it's been Curtis Wilkerson with the Pot to Palace post-game show in Inside Arkansas. We will catch you guys next time. Everybody have a good night.